And there's a kind of a loopy line through that area where I grew up, and this is like ready to rock.
Ready?
Mhm.
Okay, recorder.
Yep. He's got it recorded.
Oh, right now? Oh, okay. We'll call that February 14th, Transit Committee meeting to order. Roll call, we have everyone present except for John Nevins. Approval of minutes for the January 10th.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Motion been made second. Any discussions on the minutes from January 10th? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Public comment, nothing. None for Chair Austin, your report.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
We're all back in. Yes, they're all back. Can you see Chris through?
I can. Yep. Nope, that's perfect.
Are you away?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Get this thing down here. Right here, too. Screw up this thing. Okay. Agenda today, talking about ridership, financials, 2024 carry forward request, electric bus update on the route, county board meeting recap, and any questions. Looking at doorstop ridership and Red Cedar ridership, a few different pieces of information here, looking at the years in total comparing to the past 7 years. 2023 is the light green, falls right into the middle, to the lower middle of the screen. A lot of that has to do with the increase in community route ridership, but still holding its own versus previous years. John's in. Microsoft Teams isn't holding its own this morning. Okay, we're just not gonna go with the full screen, I don't think. Okay, that's fine. 2024, January, looking good versus previous years at fifth best, sixth best. But versus 2023, up about 60 rides, looking back from December to January, up 25%. A couple more service days, but also an extra 3 per day. So it's great to see that uptick. It was a little low in December. Looking at stout route ridership, it was still unseasonably warm that first week that stout was back, but we still had our third best year in the month of January on the Stout AM route. Stout PM route only had 663 riders that 1 week of January. looking back at the daily riders versus what we had in December, we were up about 4%.
On that, excuse me, on that, stout, like ridership, do you ever like run out of room on the buses that some people are left behind or? Yeah, like nice uptick in it.
There's always another bus. If the first bus fills up, heads out, and on the high demand times, 8:50, 9:50, and 10:50 time frames, that community bus gets there at 9:51, 8:51. And then before 8 o'clock, that community bus is a second stout bus. So what we did, what we've tried out this semester so far is on Mondays and Wednesdays at 9:50. Right before the Red Cedar driver goes on break, we've been bringing a third bus down. And since we've done that, we haven't needed it. But I assume if a cold spell comes back, we will need it. And we've seen how it works now, and it's been very beneficial because that driver goes on break at 10 o'clock. And that's one thing you can do quick to help out. 9:52 takes a group down. Every time that I've done it, I've been actually driving that route a couple times last week and this week, and we filled my bus up, that third bus, but we actually haven't filled up the community bus, that first line. So, but it's better to have the option than not. Good question. Community route ridership had a great January of 2024 on the community route Monday through Friday. It was the best year ever by close to a couple hundred. And then the community Saturday was the third best of looking back at previous years. Decreased to down 6% in January from December, losing a few riders on the daily average, but included in that is some of that stout overflow. Looking at the transit financials, everything's in for expenses. There's two payments that we received that are going in on a end of year accounts receivable totaling to around $950 on the income side. So we should be looking at a net revenue for 2023 of around 17,600 or so to the good. Carry forwards, it's what you see there, totaling 607 to 2024. You take that out of there, 16,785. Don't pay attention to that at the bottom. Okay. This will be in the action item for the commission here at the end of the meeting, but carrying forward from the year before, it's just the electric bus, 80% and 20%. The WisDOT solar array grant totals 627. What we have for carry forward money is 607, and that's the amount that we asked to get carried forward last year. And it's what we are looking to get carried forward this year.
What's the 46,600? What is that component?
Those are the 20% down payments for these,
Oh.
and that's the remaining 80%.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Okay,
Oh, do they have that down payment?
I look back at everything and we have purchase orders sent for it, but we don't have down payments in the form. Chargers are paid for in full and reimbursed for. But it's been so long, I was curious about that too. So I looked back all the way to 2018. in our financials and was making sure that, see what we had for skin in the game already.
So that kind of money, are you getting like a pretty good interest, or do you get interest at all on it? Or is it
Carry forward.
carry forward? Because it's money that you must have, right, or have control over.
I don't know the answer to that question.
There is, but it doesn't track directly back to transit. So it's just because it's all in our kind of lumped accounts.
Okay,
It doesn't designate out as specific to transit.
On these chargers, can you charge anything else besides these buses?
Yes,
You can.
yeah, they have a,
Maybe I heard it before, but I don't.
Nope.
Yeah.
it's all good. They have, one has only one plug-in,
Okay,
one power cord, either a CCS or the CHAdeMO. That's the 30 kilowatt. The 60 kilowatt has both the CHAdeMO and the CCS, which are, I believe the CHAdeMO is the kind of industry standard for small vehicles, an electric car, that sort of thing. I think the CCS is more for the heavy duty vehicles. Oh, that one has both.
okay.
Glad you brought that up, and I'll touch on that a little bit in an email that got sent this morning. So it's a great question. So electric bus update. That's a little hard to see here, but I'll read the few green things that haven't been copied from the manufacturer from the month before. We have received preliminary weight analysis.
Might be able to read it on the screen better.
Man. Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Okay. From the coach builders, and we're looking at which body manufacturer will be the best fit to partner on the test. Production schedule status, Barton Dunn County buses will be produced once Altoona is complete and if requested, once testing has commenced. Please let us know which way you'd like to go about it. Okay, so before I go any further with this, I've had a little frustration with this because we were supposed to get delivery on these, the last communication with a true date was Q1 of 24. And that's why these monthly emails came into play. And since that, right here, we are on schedule to commence production of our test vehicles in preparation for testing, as we have previously discussed with WisDOT and partnering agencies.
It sounds to me like they're about a year away from getting here at least.
Maybe.
Okay, so then I'm like, man, I really, I'm not one to go and write something up, but somebody else did. Pat Doust from Bay Area Transit sent this morning, and I feel it's worth talking to the board about. I feel these are canned updates. There are no specifics, and most of the information is the same from the previous months. I feel I've been more than patient with you throughout this project so far, but these updates are trash. It's time you stop with the excuses with the multi-year delay and offer a solution. Give us a real update with specifics, dates, times, etc. I am one monthly update, one monthly repetitive report away from canceling my 3 buses. Because of your fake timeline, I've installed chargers in my building that cost me money every month with nothing to use them. My chargers were installed 2.5 years ago with the assumption that the buses were soon to follow. We began talking about this in 2019, 5 years ago now. In this time, these chargers have cost me in excess of $800 in power bills that I should not be paying. Plus, you changed the bus from CHAdeMO to CCS, making my chargers obsolete without it ever being used. I know we have had some setbacks, but again, no more excuses. Let's work on solutions and transparency with what's going on. I want to know what the talks are with Altoona and all the details, not we are talking to them. This does not help me with my board and the municipalities that have investment in this. From what I've read, you don't even have a manufacturer for the bus. When contract with bus builder and they build the prototype, you want to test it at the track for Altoona, then send it to Altoona. This is all correct. My assumption is this will take another year at least to complete. Correct me if I'm wrong. In our last conversation, Altoona testing was to be completed fourth quarter of 23 and production first quarter of 24. Now we are talking about 2025. I think it's time again to have a phone conversation to see where we go from here. I'm not happy with the progress in communication. I apologize if this seems harsh, but I'm frustrated in this whole project. And then somebody else went from there.
I agree personally.
Who was that sent to?
Everyone in the manufacturer, the WisDOT, and the Wisconsin municipalities that ordered these.
So, yeah, so the manufacturer, I mean, so is it directed at the manufacturer?
Yeah. And I
And
guess-
WisDOT?
Yes.
It's managing this.
Yes,
Are the feds managing? Because are the
No.
dollars, the feds handed it over to WisDOT.
correct. This is a federal program that WisDOT
They took ownership.
took ownership of, and that's who procured this vendor and buses.
Is there
There's a
someone,
lot to unfold in that.
is there someone at WisDOT that's like a contact person on this
Yes,
project?
there's a lead. There's a lead through this who's been the lead through this whole
Do they-
process, same one.
Do they respond to any of your outreaching?
This was just 20 minutes ago.
Right.
So
I mean, I'm guessing, since I've been on the board,
Yep.
the 2 years, this has been the issue,
Mhm.
and I guess I'm curious why WisDOT isn't more, progressive with getting information, more pertinent information. I mean, this is just, to me, what I'm reading about what their next move is and stuff, I've already heard that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've already heard that they're gonna, I thought the buses were like physically built already, and they're
Same.
just waiting to get on the tracks or whatever they gotta do to run them, to test them and, that kind of thing. And
Yep, in conversations last summer, when I asked for the buses to have perimeter style seating, they said that we can't do that because we already have them. And then,
yeah, now it sounds like they haven't even built them yet.
yeah, so, and that's why this monthly email update came into play, is because we all had a meeting with WisDOT and voiced our frustrations last summer. Then the monthly email update came, and then it's been no progress, just copy and paste from the previous month
Right.
update.
So I guess my next question is, do we have to get the buses through the WisDOT program? I mean, I'm guessing there's funding there that they're helping with, or, I don't know.
Is that 80%? Correct.
Yeah, yeah, so
Okay,
that's where that all.
so we
comes
went on
into
our own, it'd be
effect.
100%,
Yeah,
find your own bus, and, okay. Just curious what that
Mhm.
process was. Figured it was
Yeah.
that, but.
lot to unpack with that. I think I'll have a lot more to share next month.
So I guess my last question on it is, with the current status of our fleet, where's our need, like, can we absorb another year with the equipment that we already have? Or are we hurting? I mean, really need these here to physically change out some of our equipment. And then my second part of that question is, I would hope that if we have to wait, like it's looking like, okay, if there's some kind of guarantee with the charging units, like that person brought up in their message about becoming obsolete, you know, that there's some kind of safety net there protecting us and other entities like us from their chargers being obsolete before you ever really plug anything into them, you know? Guess those are just on my mind, a couple questions that I'd like to, you know, hear WisDOT respond to, or somebody, you know? It's not your fault.
No, so with the current fleet, I would have went out for normal procurement on more small buses.
Sure.
And we're putting a pile of miles on our
Right.
2017,
Right.
so it can be 7 years, 200,000 miles before it rusts out. Like the 2011s, we still have sitting there.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten rid of those because these haven't come in.
Right.
We aren't hurting, but I'm also not planning to get more buses that we don't need based on continuing being told that these are coming.
Right.
But then, you know, that's gone on for 2 years since I've been here. So, yeah,
So how long will it take to get a bus? You know, it could be 2 years out.
yeah, so,
A normal, I mean, a fossil fuel bus,
yeah,
Yeah,
you know?
correct. Even just to source a normal one now is a lot longer than it was before. So there's that. I was gonna bring this up more in the next meeting, but we'll talk about it a bit now, but sourcing one kind of like we did a couple falls ago, but a transit bus. There's plenty of, okay, I went to that show down in La Crosse for new transit buses. They're $500,000 to $700,000. Ones with 200,000, these things last for 500,000 miles, and one with 200,000 on it, you can buy privately for $15,000, $10,000. Even 20% of 700,000 is around 130. So that would solve our capacity issues on the Stout route, even if we got 2 years out of the thing.
Yeah.
And that would leave our Stout buses to be, our current ones, to be backups for stuff, delays like this. Or it would allow us to sell some of those older Stout buses that don't fit our capacity needs for the same price, if not more, than the bigger transit bus that has a stainless steel unibody. It's built heavier. It's built for what it would be doing, 2 doors, that sort of thing. I could touch on that more, but that was another halfway solution to some of these delays that cover a lot of buses, or a lot of objectives that we're looking for cheaply.
You have a driver that would be able to drive a bus, on bigger buses?
That is a good question, and that would cover all but one, which is the operations supervisor as a Class C. It'd be a Class B vehicle, our only one in the fleet, but when we started the transit here, they were those 40,000 pound Nova buses from the 90s that were Class B. Just had 60, 70 students on those. Worked really good. They're just too old by the time that they got them. They're kind of like, you know, the useful life after X amount of years just becomes a money pit.
They have been used
Yeah.
far before we even got them.
Yep,
They used
yeah.
them, yeah.
Some of these other ones that, you know, I'm seeing that these other companies are getting rid of at 200,000 miles in very good shape. So it's something to think about.
yeah, I think you're all quite a ways on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you hear wishful thinking.
You got 2 years.
Obviously, this board can't take any action on the agenda, but I
Yep.
think you can relay that this commission is frustrated. And I'm sure Mart's is frustrated as well. And I think beyond what he talked about is the Chargers, is you could talk about, you literally have altered your capital plan, your fleet plan.
Yeah,
To a point now where you're gonna start to get boxed in, because of this.
It's a good idea.
And I think that's the really salient argument. And at some point, yeah, commissions at BART or here are gonna have to make some decisions, or they're gonna have to be a really squeaky wheel. And I think there's some years to squeak at on the state level and the federal level. Federal level handed it off to Wisconsin DOT, but I bet they wouldn't mind knowing that this has been a clown show for 5 years. I mean, I think there's a lot of things in between that were reasonable, delays, COVID, all that, but I think they pointed out that we're just being fed lines that have no basis of truth, so. If we could see some truth and can verify that, then it'd feel a lot better, like knowing that, okay, there is an end in sight, but there isn't here.
it doesn't.
Yeah, if there's something to think about in the coming timeline based on what these other agencies talk about, stuff, it's just coming up with plan Bs and stuff like that. We have about 40,000 in the Chargers, which is, and some of that's paid for by most of that's paid for by the state. It's paid for a year ago. It's a drop in the bucket compared to if this continues to be this way. That's $500,000.
So what are your thoughts, Austin? You've been thinking about it more than we have. After you
I-
read this email this
Yeah.
morning. with
Well,
20
that's
minutes.
exactly how I felt,
Yeah.
but I didn't mention it. And even if everything was perfect in the procurement with this, it scares me owning them. Because with the gas bus, I could go out and I could do a brake job on it. I could do whatever. You can diagnose 90% of it in-house. With that one, there's no place in town that would, or even in the area that if something goes wrong with any of the electrical on it, that would touch it. So that's what scares me about it. And the last thing you want to have is something like that go and be a checkmate when it comes to your budget. To keep something around. So that's what scares me about it. Obviously, it's a Ford chassis and a lot of the components are the same, but then a lot on. So,
That was my other curiosity was who's gonna fix it? But
and they have a
it's gonna break
warranty.
down. I mean, yeah.
They have a pretty extensive warranty on them, but just the unknowns is what scares me and stuff like that. But the longer this goes on, it frustrates me. I hate continuing to talk about it and try to, keep the commission in good spirits about it. And then it's,
If I can throw a suggestion, I would just see what your options are.
Yeah.
Forget about the dumb thing or whatever. I mean, a lot of times these feel-good stories cost money. That's all this is. It's a feel-good story. But that's just my opinion.
So why, excuse me, like why was the big push for electrical buses?
there's a big grant for it. This was before I was here,
Okay,
but there was a big WisDOT grant push for it. If
can you still go to Wisconsin transportation? Do they still have a class for like regular buses? Some kind of like a 20% off or whatever, like you do electrical?
yeah, there's still the WisDOT normal procurement program
Okay.
with the buses.
Because I've heard a lot of horror stories about these, what the cost is if a battery goes haywire, just ridiculous, you know?
They're under warranty. But,
Where are you gonna go?
yeah, so,
Yeah, that's my thing. I mean,
Plus you probably
let's
gotta
say,
get a
let's say
truck.
we change our
You don't have
fleet,
time to get up
or a
there.
significant part of our fleet, okay? And then it breaks down. Yeah, it's under warranty, but we're dealing with something that we've been dealing with for well over 2 years now, okay, at least, and then some. How long is it gonna take to replace that bus? And I guess my biggest question is, what does that do to our route coverage then? You know, do we have to keep 4 other buses out in the back somewhere? You
Just
know,
in case.
just in case, and, you know.
Yeah.
All right, wrap things up for next month.
I'll-
Why don't you get a list put
Yep.
together on the trucks?
Yep.
Or the vehicle, or the bank,
Okay.
and the miles we have on them, years
Yep.
old. See where we're at on all that. and
Okay.
How many we're using, what we got for extra, whatever.
Yeah.
Put that together for next meeting,
Okay.
and then we can discuss all this next meeting, and then we'll know where we're at.
Okay.
So, okay,
See if I can-
so let's keep going.
on the route, overdose medication, CPR face shields now on every bus and visible. 2 doses in that CPR face shield. Project Hope, purchased 60 community route bus passes. Not 66 tokens, 66 times 20 rides each. So huge, big sale. They've been doing great work over there, and I'm happy that we have been a part of it. I'll talk about this more next meeting with how long we've gone. Our GPS units that we have are now discontinued. I was able to purchase one last one to have a spare and get us by. The new ones, instead of being 400 a unit, are 1100 a unit. But they are Wi-Fi capable. I haven't said yes to any of these or anything like that, but they have Wi-Fi capabilities on the bus. We could put Yodis in the bus and everything would be wireless with that. It also has a LAN hookup. So we might be able to, with these new GPS units and routers, be able to hardwire a credit card reader into these. And that's what was missing in the county with how the county runs their credit card payments. I haven't thought more than a few minutes about this, but it ideally, the way it theoretically should work for taking payments on the bus with those new routers having that hardwire hookup. Maybe. So that would offer Wi-Fi to the users riding the bus. That would offer electronic card reader payments if Stout wanted to do their tracking. So I think some cool upsides with this potentially in the future. But they're less mobile than the current ones, and they are triple the price. So they almost need to be in every bus and stay in every bus, not us having 4 units that travel to whatever route they're on. It's a bit of an investment, but I think they're a lot more durable than what we got. County board meeting, great questions, positive feedback. And there was a little bit of a negative feedback on there. A board member asked why this is based in the city of Menominee, mostly for city residents. And said that we carry the tax burden. And we let them know that it didn't cost the county anything for this service. And I think what I failed to mention in that meeting is I think it's great that the county has oversight of this commission without having that tax burden, having oversight on this. So I think that's a huge plus. And the volunteer driver program is countywide. That's part of that 8521 grant. And most of our citizens in the county are in this municipality. And whenever it doesn't take away from helping 2 people out in town, we will go out of town for whoever we can. So a lot of that other municipalities, transit to them has been done and tried, and A lot of money was spent on it to get more riders. Very, very few. Talked to Kent, he came in last week and, so just want to spend the man hours and the resources where it's most utilized.
You had a very nice report and did a good job explaining it. Yeah. Good job. Yeah.
Any other questions? That was your effort. That's it, right?
That was it.
Good conversation, good information, a lot of good questions in there. Hopefully next month we can put a bunch of stuff together and.
If Brian wasn't playing.
I know.
skipping.
Maybe I'll see if I can get reception. This electric bus is not good. I'll see, I don't know.
Number 7, consideration actions, discuss on approved electric bus capital project carryover budget for 2024. I think we touched on that one. We need to just vote on it?
Yep.
Carry over, okay,
I move we approve that.
okay.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Any other discussion on that? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Nothing else for 8. Next meeting will be March 13th. Same place, same time. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.